Welcome to another episode of Comadreando podcast. I'm your host, Marcy. And today we have an amazing guest, Marlana, and I will let her introduce herself. Who are you?
Hi, I am Marlana from Cleveland, Ohio. I am a teacher and a special needs mom.
Amazing. So, Marlena and I, sorry that I mispronounced it before. Marlena and I connected via social media. I think you started following my account and we started liking each other's pictures. And then when I posted my blog post about single mom dating as a special needs mom, you were like, we need to have this conversation. And I was like, yeah, come on my show. So today's topic is we're going to be exploring single motherhood and dating. And the reason why I chose the topic for today is that it's been something that I've been dealing with for some time now. And then, it's difficult sometimes, especially as special needs moms, balancing being between being an amazing mom and still making time to be a woman and tapping into the divine feminine and our sensuality, which is important. So you said you're a teacher. How long have you been doing that?
7 years.
Wow, amazing. How do you like it so far?
I love it. It has its ups and downs like anything else in life, but I think that was really like my calling and my purpose, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm a teacher as well. So are you
cool.
do you teach special education or something else?
No, I actually don't. A lot of people ask me that, but I actually have no interest in that, which is pretty odd, me having a child with special needs, but I don't think I could handle it.
Yeah, and that's honest. Let me tell you, I used to teach before in here in New York City. We have a district for kids with special needs that have more severe needs, and I couldn't do it. I was burnt out. I did it for 2 years and then I decided to switch to a community school. And I was still teaching special education, but it's different in a community school rather than having, a whole classroom full of kids with really severe needs. Because the thing is, I was dealing with them and then coming home to deal with my child. And at that time, he was small and he needed me so much. So it was getting to a point that I couldn't balance myself. I was feeling a little burnt out. So, knowing myself, I was like, yeah, I can't do this. So I had to still be in special education, but switch lenses. Like right now, I'm out of the classroom. So that works for me perfectly fine. But I
completely understand. Mm-hmm. Yes, I completely understand where you're coming from. I work with older kids, 7th and 8th grade, teenagers. And a lot of people are like, you don't want to work with the little kids? No, I have a little one. So I got to find balance in my life. I need some type of normalcy. I don't want to have to deal with that and come home and deal with that. A lot of people can, but I think it's different when you have a child with special needs. You have to be very attentive. And with little ones, you have to be the same way when you're working with them. My 7th and 8th graders, I can kind of give them more responsibility. I can trust them a little bit more. I can have more realer conversations, and I need that. So I completely get where you're coming from.
And it's all about knowing your limits. As a teacher, you have to know your limits. There's certain, I can teach all disabilities, but there's certain kids that it really triggers me to work with them. And I prefer not to because I know my limits as a person. So, that's something that I'm working on right now. So I want you to share with the listeners, what is your child's diagnosis?
Okay, Osaya is diagnosed with a genetic disorder called S3Ep15, and yes, that is the real name. We actually all have that genetic in our bodies. He was born with a partial deletion, not a full deletion, and he also was born with myoclonic seizures.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when did you start noticing that your child was different?
Okay, my story is a little interesting. The day I had my son, I knew something was wrong. I pushed my son out, and I had a normal vaginal delivery. Nothing out of the norm, other than him having a smaller eye. Nothing out of the norm would have popped in a doctor's or a nurse head, or any of the family that was in the delivery room with me, that would have said something was wrong. But for some reason, I felt it in my spirit. I literally pushed my son out, turned to my mother, and I said, something is wrong with him. And everybody looked at me like I was crazy. Like, no, are you referring to his small eye? Sometimes that happens when you have, a fast delivery, or, they started telling me different things. And I didn't know why I was feeling that. I could not tell you to this day how I knew something was wrong. But I knew something was wrong the day I had my son. But I didn't start seeing it until he was probably like 6 months old.
Wow. That's incredible. So when you noticed that at 6 months, what was it that you noticed that made you kind of like be like, okay, I need to get him some help?
Okay, so like, they have like, how can I put this? Like the milestones that a child is supposed to meet at certain times, in their life. Yes. I saw that he wasn't meeting certain milestones, like trying to lift his head up, trying to roll over, trying to push himself up with his arms. It was just little things like that. And when he was first born, I know they say babies cry when they are first born, you never get no sleep. But Osiah was like overly irritable. He seemed very uncomfortable. It just didn't feel right. Like something was wrong. So that was like the first thing. Like that 6 month, he wasn't trying to roll over, he wasn't trying to push up, he wasn't trying to lift his head up. And I was just like, no, something is wrong with my baby. And doctors was just like, it was like too early to test. And the certain things that they could test for, everything was coming back negative. So it was just like, nope, until I found a doctor who was willing to actually dig deeper.
Okay. And then, so what was it? Man, that's crazy. So what was it? Did he, once the doctor dug deeper and gave you a diagnosis, did he receive early intervention when he was younger? All right. So once you got that diagnosis from that doctor at 6 months,
I actually didn't get it at 6 months. I didn't get it until he was 2.5. It took them that long to figure out what was wrong.
Oh my God. But in the meanwhile, while he was getting the diagnosis, did he receive early intervention to help him?
Yes, and I had to fight for that. Oh my goodness. Because without a diagnosis, they don't want to give you no type of help. I'm talking about just no help. So I literally had to fight for that. But by the grace of God, my son has we both have come into contact with amazing doctors that literally have wrote up stuff, gave prescriptions, even without him having a diagnosis, because they saw that something was wrong. So at 6 months, my son did start therapy, physical, occupational, and we didn't do speech until later on when we started discovering that he couldn't talk. But physical therapy was one of the first therapies that we started to try to get him, because he got diagnosed with low muscle tone as well. So that was the cause of why they were saying he wasn't able to, pick his head up, roll over, do certain things that big. Yeah. So physical therapy was one of the first therapies that we started.
Okay, that's good. And then, as far as your family, did you have support from your family at that time?
That's a good question.
To be honest,
I would say my mom. My mom is a very well educated woman. She has a degree in special education. She's a teacher, a principal. She has worked with the special needs community. I was introduced to the special needs community as a kid. My mother used to be a manager of a group home. She used to take me to work for her. So I've seen this all my life. It wasn't new to me. Did I know I was going to be this close to it? No, but it wasn't new to me. So when it came to my mom, she was my backbone. She was there at appointments. She was helping me try to navigate the health system, telling me what I needed to do, how I needed to, present myself and not take no for an answer. Like, my mother was my backbone. That's all I really can say. I really don't have nobody else to call out besides my two best friends, who are my son's godmothers. They've been there since the beginning. My son father, no.
Okay.
His
And
mother,
that's
yes.
honest. And shout out
His
to your
mother
mother. Shout out to your mother. Shout out to the grandmas,
yes.
both of them. So,
both of them.
tell me more
Amazing.
about Osaya. Who is he? What makes him sparkle? What kind of stuff is he into? So tell me about Osaya and who is he? What makes him sparkle? What kind of things is he into?
Okay, so Osaya is very energetic. One thing about Osaya that a lot of people notice and that I love to tell people about, like Osaya is a very happy kid, which makes it more easier for me to do the job that I do. He's always happy. Osaya is probably not happy when he's not getting a snack or some food, but other than that, he is very happy. He loves music. He loves to play with the vacuum. Osaya does not play with toys. He plays with everything else that's not a toy. He loves to eat. He's a happy kid. That's really what I can describe him as. Like Osaya is very happy, like very joyful.
Yay. I'm glad. That makes me happy. So I always ask this to the moms and they get a little bit serious, but I'm gonna ask you. So what are some of your fears or reservations as a parent of a child that's one day gonna be a young man with a disability as he becomes an adult?
Um, I've been thinking about that a lot. And it really never dawned on me until last year when I got really sick and I thought I was going to have to put my son into a facility. So the thought of other people tending to him on a day-to-day basis, 24/7, it was just like, are they going to love him the way I love him, treat him the way I treat him? And he's nonverbal. So that's like an extra fear of him not being able to tell me, mommy, somebody touched me. Mommy, somebody yelled at me. Mommy, somebody called me this. Mommy, somebody had me in my chair all day. And that's the fear that I have of somebody mistreating him, society not understanding him. I think about encounters with the police. That's been crossing my mind a lot. I'm very, very, very fearful of what would happen if something was to happen to me. I'm very fearful of what's going to happen as I get older and I'm not able to care for him.
Mm-hmm.
It just really breaks my heart, just like knowing that somebody is always going to have to take care of my son and not knowing if that person woke up mentally stable, if that person heart is really pure, or it's just a thought that I try not to think about, but I know that I have to plan for it. I know that it's something that I have to come to grips with, that it is my reality. But yeah, that's that something that I can think about and instantly start crying.
That's something that we deal with as parents in general, especially moms of children that are children of color. It's something that, they already have a strike against them in a sense, because they are black and brown. And then on top of that, we got the added layer of having a disability and, not knowing whether they're going to, the person that encounters them is going to know how to deal with them, or is going to have that, thought in the back of their head. So I completely understand where you're coming from with your fears.
They not trying to let us win.
Girl, I'm like, what's happening? Okay. So, and we're going to start over again and action. So, switching gears. Let's get into the topic. What is your current relationship status?
I'm in a relationship right now.
You are? Yay!
Yes.
Okay. So, before we talk about your current relationship right now, let's talk about what happened with the relationship with your son's father. Like what was it that went wrong, or just talk about that relationship in general, like how it started and kind of how it progressed until the end.
Okay, so me and my son's father met when I was a teenager. He was a couple years older than me. Um, when we first met, we were just kids living life, living on the edge, but we were like best friends. Like that really was my dog. We did everything together. We hanged together, ate together, went out together, and boom, I ended up pregnant. And I think that, and this has been weighing on me a lot too. I just, I don't know what happened. When I got pregnant, I I learned a whole different man. I saw a whole different man. I felt like I was talking to a different man. It was just like I didn't know who that person was. He wasn't
But
loving,
what
caring, understanding.
but what was it that changed, and when
I'm
did you
sorry, I didn't
notice
hear
the
you.
change? Was it like after you? What was it that changed? Like, what did you notice that changed?
It was like an instant change. Like as soon as I told
As
him
soon
I
as
was
you told
pregnant,
him?
it was just like as soon as I told him I was pregnant, it was just like, well, what you gonna do?
Oh my
it was just
God.
that. So I remember from that day on, literally nothing was the same. My entire pregnancy I did by myself with my mother. He wasn't there for it. It just I tell people all the time, like a lot of females is always like, be a wife. I want to be this. I want to be that. And I always tell them, you never know that person until you really, really know that person. Because I really thought I knew the person that I was
Mm-hmm.
having a kid with. I really thought that the loving person that was loving to me was going to be the loving person that would have been me, would have been to me and my child. The fun person that I
Mm.
that I had fun with, I thought he was going to be the same way with my child. But
Mm.
um I don't know if it was just me being pregnant that was just too much, or me making the decision to have the baby without asking him if that's how he felt. I don't know what it
Mm-hmm.
was that just made him want to just disconnect from the situation.
Mm.
I actually never had that conversation with my son father to know the actual answer, but I just know
Mm-hmm.
that the man that I thought that I was having a kid with didn't turn out to be the man that I thought.
Wow. That's so sad, man. Like, so then after, so he immediately ended it when you told him you was pregnant.
I don't want to say he immediately ended it, but the relationship was just going down and down.
So, sorry, Marlana. Okay.
He wasn't coming around. The communication was, he'll pop up, and come see me, see how I'm doing. Um, but it wasn't no consistency. It wasn't no nurturing. It wasn't no understanding, no caring. Like none of that was gone. None of that was there. It was like all lost. It was just gone. And after I had my son, we tried. We tried
Mm-hmm.
to navigate it together, but it was just like it was so much resentment, so much hurt from you leaving me when I needed you. And now
Mm-hmm.
that the baby here, it's like I don't know if you're here because I have your son, or you're here because you need me.
Mm.
I don't like, if you get what I'm saying without trying to
Yeah,
be
no,
very
I
blunt.
understand.
It's like when I met my son father, I was very established even as a teenager. So it
Okay.
was like I'm not sure if you're really here because I'm your child's mother, or you're here because it's convenient for you. So
Oh.
as I started noticing different type of things and the actions and the track record, I came to a point where it was like, you gotta go.
Okay. Girl, that's real. Because the thing is, it takes maturity to realize when it's time to cut your losses and keep it moving. Because at the end of the day, it's better for your child to see two parents that are separate and happy as opposed to two people that are miserable and together just for the sake of being together. And I've always said that.
And it's not like I 100% for him. We both were young. I got pregnant when I was 19. I felt like I was still was a kid having a kid. So I understand the growth, but I think I don't give much slack now because my son is 8 and you're still not around. So it's like you had time to grow and understand and to become a better man. You're just choosing not to.
That's real, girl. Man. Okay. So once you became single, how long did it take you to start dating again? After y'all separated?
That's a good question. I was young. I was in my prime. I don't know. I don't. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
So what was it like though?
It probably ain't take me no time.
No, that's fine. Listen, how old are you? Like 20 something?
I'm 28 right now.
But when that happened, you was like 20.
When that happened, I was like 20. Yeah, you right. I was like
20. Girl, bye.
I wasn't even 21 yet. I don't think so. I was in my prime. So to be honest, I don't think it took me no time to like. I wasn't serious dating, but it didn't take me no time to get the feel of the dating world, going out with my girls. Now that I'm single, it didn't take me no time, to be honest. And plus, I'm a social bug. I was really a social bug during that time. So yeah, it didn't take me no time.
So what was it like at first when you first started dating, like in your 20s with a baby?
Whew. How was it? That's a good question. How was it? I think when my son was when he was like before like that's a good question. It actually wasn't that hard because I wasn't like thinking marriage at that time. I wasn't thinking stability. I was like, I'm in my 20s. I'm in my young 20s. I think I just want to have some fun. So it wasn't like too big of a deal. The only thing that I wasn't cool with was just bringing men around my kid.
Okay.
Like that's one thing I can say. Even at a young age, I just wasn't going to do. Would just have different type of men around my son. So dating at that young age wasn't too bad. Only because my mindset at that time. It was just a little different than it was when I started getting like 24, 25. But at that fresh 20 and 21, I was just having a good time, just going out, having fun, wasn't doing nothing too serious. So that's kind of how it was at that time.
Okay. And then, like, how was it that you were finding your dates? Were you online dating at the time or just going out with your girls and meeting people in person?
What? No, we wasn't online dating at that time. What's so funny, I didn't even start online dating until my best friend told me she was doing it. I was like, okay, let me make me a little online thing. But at that time, no, we was just going out. Yeah, we were just going out and I was just meeting people. Or at that time, Instagram was way better than it is now. Instagram to me isn't fun right now. It's just too much. But back then it was kind of like chill and relaxed. So like meeting people on there was kind of cool. It was like, okay, where you going? We'll pull up. We'll meet you there. But that's pretty much how it was. I wasn't on any dating sites at that time. No.
Okay. So the person that you're dating now, how did you meet that person?
In the DMs. But was kind of different though, because even though I met him in my DM, I still made him pull up on me and my girls so I can make sure that one, you're a real person, and two, how your character, how you carry yourself. So yeah, that's how we met. He used to message me all the time, and like I never paid him no attention, like no time of day. I used to go live a lot on Instagram. I used to be very social and live on Instagram, just having conversations with people, talking about relationships, talking about my son. And he used to come in my live all the time and say stuff. And I was just like, okay, whatever. And then we have like mutual people. So when they started talking about I was starting to get a little interested. So I'm like, let me see who this person is. We started communicating. Not just on my live, but in our messages. And then one day I was on live and I was out, and he was like, where you at? I'm pulling up on you because I can't get your number through the DM. Because I wasn't giving my number through the DM. I was like, nope, sorry, you got to meet me in person. So one day he caught me and he met me in person.
Okay. So how has that been, dating and being a mom? Because I know, like, you're young. And how is it that you balance, like, being a mother and then finding time to date and get to know people on that level?
Okay. Before I say this, I want to give a full disclaimer that I'm just talking about me and how I feel, because I know people going to be like, no, that's not true. I feel like when you become a mom and when you're a single mom, and I want to define single mom as not getting no consistent help from your father or daughter's father.
Yes.
That's what a single mom is. You're not getting no help.
Yeah, because if you're co-parenting, that's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you co-parenting, like, y'all don't live together, but then that person is completely present in that child's life and is picking them up on a consistent basis, that I don't consider you a single mother, because you're actually getting assistance.
So we got to define what a single mom is. Not getting no help. I literally get no help. I don't get no child support, no money, no time, no nothing from my son father. It's literally just me. So I feel like when we are in that predicament, time is valued at a so much higher level. And I don't think a lot of men understand that. And I'm not saying that women who don't have kids or women who do have a kid and are co-parenting, I'm not saying that their time isn't valued. Everybody's time is valued. But as a single mom, our time value is at a high, high standard. And if you are not considerate and consistent when it comes to my free time, when I'm not being a mom, that's a deal breaker for me. My current relationship could have ended because of that. And I told him that. He knows that if he watches it. Because I had to explain to him. I literally had to give him the rundown, like, I have my son 24/7. And when I do have my son, I can't tell him to go sit on the couch and watch an iPhone, a laptop, an iPad. I have to be attentive to my child. I have to watch my child every second of the day. He cannot be alone by himself at all. Somebody always. So when I do get time to just be a human, just be a woman, and just be me, and you don't respect that or honor that, you got nothing coming.
You gotta go.
I'm gonna turn into a beast.
You gotta go.
Because I just think that is. I just think that's something that a lot of people don't understand when it comes to the special needs community. Is that we put so much energy and time into our kids when it comes to doctor's appointments, medical appointments, IEPs, ETRs, talking to therapists, them having outbursts, or we dealing with their emotions. They're not able to express to us what's going on. Like, every second of the day, I'm not even thinking about me. I'm thinking about what I have to do with my son, what appointments I got to make, how many doctors he got to see, what medicine I got to teach myself how to give my son, the dosages that he got to take, me trying to Google medicines to make sure there ain't no side effects, trying to make sure this not gonna go wrong. And it's like, I understand everybody go through things, but I really don't think the world has got an understanding on what we got to go through.
Nope.
Especially men when it comes to dating.
Yeah, and the thing is, our roles as caretakers is like that much more, because not only are we a mother, but we're a caretaker of a person that cannot fend for themselves.
Ooh, you worded that
so
perfect.
when we make time to spend time with you, you better come correct, because I'm not going out to and I've said this on the show before, and they're gonna judge me. I'm not going out to have coffee with nobody. You taking me out of my house? I'm paying for a child care. I'm leaving my son with a person that's not his family members. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting all dolled up. We're not going out to have
Let's
coffee.
talk about paying people to take care of our kids.
Because that's the thing. Like, there's guys that are like, oh, you a gold digger. No, I'm not a gold digger. The thing is that I'm already making an investment. First of all, I'm taking time away from my child. I'm taking time to pay for somebody to watch my kid. You need to make my time worth it.
It don't have nothing, and it don't have nothing. And I understand when you say like it don't have nothing to do with being a gold digger. It's all about the experience and how much thought you put in to spending time with me, and how that's going to make me feel. Because I didn't approach you, you approached me, and I think a lot of my frustration in the dating world came from the fact that I'm very transparent and open about my situation. I want people to understand my reality. I have a child with special needs, and don't nothing come before him. I don't care who you are, how much money you got, what you done did for me, what bill you done ever paid. I don't care about none of that. Don't nothing come before him. So I think that it's hard for people to understand it until they see you do it. And I think my current boyfriend was like that. Until he saw me day in and day out actually tending to my son, him seeing his father not be there, him seeing the hospital stays, me breaking out and crying, me not knowing what to do, or I think it was like a switch went off and he was just like, wow. And I hate that it got to get to that point where people actually have to come into our world to actually hear our cry. Because I don't share my story for pity. I don't share my story for sympathy. Yeah. I share my story so the world can understand how complex a special needs parent life is, single or not. Our lives are committed to making our kids come. And I think that's just why I share so much, and I'm so transparent, because I don't want anybody to not understand what they're getting themselves into when it comes to me, because I don't have a lot of time to give. I always have my son, and I've never been the type of mother to let anybody watch my son. I've never been the type of mother to just drop my son off anywhere. There's literally probably 3 people in my life that I trust that they will care for my son the way I care for him. And if those 3 people aren't available to watch my son, ain't nobody watching my son. I can't go. Another thing is proactive. I get very irritated when somebody asks me to do something in the spur of the moment, knowing my situation. But I also had to realize that sometimes people don't do it in the ill will. So sometimes I gotta dial it back. But if you know, like you know, just be respectful of how you act. That can be a trigger, and people don't know that. Like I have been asked to do stuff on the spur of the moment, and me not being mad at them, but just being mad at my situation. Like, dang, I can't call his
Mm-hmm.
dad to, hey, can you watch your son for a couple hours? So
Yeah.
a lot of emotions that go into dating when you are a single mom and have a kid with special needs. It's
Yeah.
like a lot of emotions that we got to deal with, and a lot of emotions that our partners are going to have to deal with. And we have to know that you're strong enough to endure that. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Because the thing is, our kids have fathers. You know what I'm saying? They're not involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that is not that person's problem. We're not asking you to be the dad. What we're asking you is for you to see us, value the fact that we're making time for you, and actually, show some type of effort. Because I'm not like another thing that's a big turn off for me is oh, let's hang out. Let's hang out, but then they don't have nothing planned, and then we just wasting time. I'm just like, do you actually want to go out? Like, are you really interested in me? Because the thing is, like, you see that I'm doing all this, like,
Mm-hmm.
to plan to go out with you. I'm making time, taking time away from my child, and I'm making a space for you. I'm securing a babysitter. The least you can do is pick a place. You know what I'm saying? Pick a
Yes.
place and like plan the date.
Yes.
That's all. If you need input from me, I'm cool with giving you input, but like, take something off my plate. I'm already doing 100,000 different things at the same time. I want to be able to go somewhere and just be able to be feminine and just be a girl.
Woo! You just said it. And it's so crazy because I think that what was so scary when getting into a relationship is like, I don't want to have to lead no man. I don't want to have to navigate you knowing how to be a man. I don't want another son. And I think that was the
Yeah.
scary thing, is because I literally do everything for my son. I feed him,
Mm-hmm.
I bathe him, I brush his teeth. Things that he should be able to do on his own, he can't. So when it comes to dating, I don't want to have to tell you how to treat me. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have to hold your hand and tell you how to make me feel special or make me feel loved. And I think that's where my expectation shot so high, is because of my son. Because I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
everything. And like you said, we just want to break. We just want to know that we literally can take a break and you got it from there. And not
Mm-hmm.
saying I'm not going to do the same for you,
Mm-hmm.
because I will. I do it now for my current relationship. But it's like, I want to know, if I need you to just, boom, take over, that you're able to do that. And
Exactly.
me knowing that you're able to do that, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask to take me out, like you said, I'm willing to give you some suggestions, but ultimately, I want you to plan this out. I don't want to have to call no restaurant and make our reservations. You ask me out. I don't want to have to, all you should be asking me is, hey, are you free such and such? Or, hey, can you get a sitter such and such? And if I say yes, you say, hey, okay, I'll pick you up at this time.
Yep.
Especially if you offer to
And
take me out.
then the thing is, people don't understand that, like, that just means a lot, for at least as a mom of a kid with special needs. That means so much. Like, you really just trying to let me have fun with you, like that.
Yes.
Like, if you trying to get into the that is gonna be like a check in the right direction. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
I don't know, like that's like a big, I don't know. For me, it's a big ick. Like, when a guy's like, I don't know, what you wanna do? You wanna hang out? And I'm like, what? You a grown ass man, bro. Like, what?
I totally agree. Totally agree.
it's just, and then the thing is, okay, so what I have worked on for myself, I communicate my expectations very clearly. So I let them know from jump before we even meet up in person what my expectation is. And if you can't deliver that, that's okay. We can keep it moving. But like I'm not the type of person that is gonna be like, you're psychic, you're just gonna know. I assume that people don't know and I let them know up front. But once I tell you and you're not meeting that expectation, then it's a wrap.
Yep. And I thank God that I'm so transparent and like free spirit and I don't shelter my reality. I love that about me because it's not a secret. You can see it. Like you literally can see my day in and day out. Like not this isn't my current situation, but if I was to meet somebody on the street or out somewhere and they was like, hey, can I get your number? Da, da, da. And they was like, hey, well, do you have social media? Yeah, I do. Go look at my page. You literally can see my whole, not my whole, but you can get a energy and a feel of what's going on in my life.
Yeah,
and you can draw up your own conclusion just by the things that I have posted about my experience having a son with special needs, going through my own illness. Like I'm very transparent, open. I'm not a secretive person. I don't try to hide my son's disability. It's out there for the world to see it. I love sharing things about him, the difficulties, the ups, the downs. And I think my transparency helps a little bit with dating. But sometimes a lot of men just see me and don't see him. So I have came to that conclusion too, that even when you're transparent, men be so blinded by just the image, a pretty face, a big butt, a nice waist, that they don't even see the other stuff you got going on. So
yeah, it's true. And for the people that are not watching the YouTube video, Marlana is a bad bitch. She's absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
You know, like it's just so another thing that I have an issue with, like I remember I went on a date with a guy and he told me straight up that he couldn't be number 2. And I was like, okay, thank you. That is all I need to know. Bye. Like, you need to know that when you date a single mother of a child with special needs, you're always going to be number 2. And you should be okay with being number 2.
I have never...
Actually, number 3. Actually, number 3. Because I'm number 1.
Right.
My son is number 2. And you're going to be number 3. And you should be okay with being number 3.
Wow, the nerve of that man. I have never had nobody...
a grown-ass 20-something-year-old man told me that he was not okay with being second banana. I was like, okay, so what am I supposed to do with my child?
Yeah.
Just throw him? Like you told me we're going on a date. I'm going to just be like, oh, here,
right.
Stay by yourself. What? It's wild. It's wild. It's wild. So I wanted to ask you a question. So why is it important to have a balance between all the roles we play as women?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I used to get this all the time from like older people. Oh, she dressed like a stripper. She dressed like this. This just like balance. I'm not showing up to my son's school like this. I'm not having my stomach out, taking my son to the mall, taking him to an event. I'm not wearing tight fitted clothes. I know when to show and I know when not to show. So for me, getting dolled up, putting on makeup, putting on different hair, you know, showing my body, my physique or whatever you want to call it, I feel like I have balance. It's not something that I don't know how to turn off and turn on. I know when it's appropriate and I know when it's not. And before I was a woman.
Yes.
And after I became a mother, I don't stop being a woman. So why is it that I can't tap into into, I guess, my bad bitch mode? Or why can't
Yeah.
I tap into just making myself feel good?
Yeah.
I'm not putting this on for nobody else. I'm putting this on because it makes me feel good. If
Yeah.
I'm in a bad mood, sometimes I will literally just wake up and do my makeup to see if I could do things a different type of way. It don't
Yeah.
have nothing to do with what society think or about to get, or I don't even care about stuff like that. I literally just want to feel good. I want to feel, like you said, like a woman, because sometimes we get lost. I know
Yeah.
I have got lost in just motherhood, feeling guilty if I do get cute. Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
another thing. Having that guilt as a special needs parent when you're not with your kid. Because it's like,
Girl.
and I had to get over that too, because it's like, if I don't start experiencing life and living life, I'm going to start, I don't know if it's resentment. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but yeah, and I don't never want a mother to think that just because you have a kid, you can't be beautiful, you can't be sexy. Like, I don't know where that came from, but I
Yeah.
literally have never dumbed myself down to feel comfortable, because I know when it's appropriate and I know when it's not. Like I said, I'm not going to my son's school with my belly out. I'm not going to my son's school with heels on, 4-inch heels and tight pants. And I know when it's the time and I know what's the place. So that's how I find balance, and
Yes.
just knowing when to do it and when not to.
Yeah, man. So I've had this conversation with a bunch of women on the show. I've brought in like healers and other women that I really look up to, and it's like you can be all the things. You know what I'm saying? You can be all the things. You could be sexy. You could be a goddess. You could be a mother. But the thing is, like, just because you have a child doesn't mean that you're gonna sever that, right? Or that you're gonna have like that part of you dies. That no. I feel like after you have a kid, you become more sexy because you know that your body is capable of one creating a human being and like
Whew.
giving life.
I love that you
Nobody
said that.
else can do that. Nobody else can do that.
I and I'm not cocky, and I'm not trying to say this to be braggish, but my body been through some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that God has allowed me to bounce back and still have this shape and still have this figure, it amazes me.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I had my son, I instantly snapped back. And I know a lot of women don't do that, but
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, wow. I just went from being 9 months pregnant, half dead with a kid, and now look at me.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when I dress like this, it makes me feel good just knowing, like, wow, as women, we can bear children. And I love my stretch marks. People are like, you gonna get a tattoo over your stretch marks? Never. I love my stretch marks. I show them off all the time. I love them. So it's just like, like you said, it just really amazes me how much stuff a woman body can endure. Like, we've literally pushed out another human being. So
Yeah.
you think I'm not about to get dolled up? You think I'm not about to get cute? You think I'm not about to get pretty?
Let me tell you, I'm one to be like, I'm so extra. I'll go to the bodega and I'll just do my face because I want to feel good about myself. You know what
Yes.
I'm not, and I do have those days that I'm just in sweatpants and I'm like, whatever.
I got
But
many of those.
you know what I'm saying? But like, it makes me feel good. It does. It like to suppress the sexuality and who I am as a woman just because I'm a mother. I feel like I wouldn't be who I am today because I feel like
Yes.
it's all me. Like there's different versions, but it's all you. They all converge into one person, and that's you as
Yes.
a whole. And that's beautiful. So
Yes.
I want you to talk about your health journey too, because like you're so amazing and gorgeous and you're a special needs mom, but you also deal with health issues that you know are tend to be a little severe. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay. So, um, last year I got diagnosed with a stomach disease called gastroparesis. Woo, I felt like death. And I went through 7 feeding tubes. I went from like 156 to 107, 106. It was just like, it was a time in my life where I literally just started questioning my purpose of being here. Because it was just like, okay, God, you gave me a special needs kid. All right, God, now you giving me this. Now you giving me that. Now you giving me something else. It was like to the point where like, how much stuff you about to put in my book bag to the point I can't carry it no more. Like that's how I was starting to feel. And by the grace of God, the moment that I thought I was going to have to put my son into a facility, I literally started getting better. And ever since then, I have not looked back. I have not been in no hospital. I have not had no feeding tube. I have not had nothing. And as a special needs parent, not being able to take care of your kid and having to watch his grandparents, you know, his grandparents held it down when I was sick.
Yeah.
I literally thank them enough. It's like no words for me to thank them enough for not allowing my kid to have to go into no facility, because it was getting to that point, because yes, they were there to take care of my son, but at the same time, they're there to take care of me mentally, financially, spiritually. So it was to the point where, no, we don't want him to go into to a facility, but in order for us to keep financially providing for the both of us, somebody is going to have to take care of him to the point where we're able to still financially care for him and you. So that was like the hardest thing I think I ever had to go through, was actually like talking to his, I don't know what you guys call it in New York. You're in New York, right? But out here we have SAs through our county when you have a child with special needs. So just talking to his SA and just explaining to her the situation, how I don't think I can do it right now. I think I'm going to have to put him in a home. And her giving me options, like, that was just heartbreaking. I literally just wanted to give up at that point. Like, it was just, I just couldn't wrap my head around how I had a special needs kid and now I'm sick.
Yeah.
I just really couldn't wrap my head around that.
Marlana.
Can
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just thank God that right now my stomach disease is in remission. So, I just been living my life on YOLO, to be honest, ever since that happened, because it's like going through something like that traumatic, I literally try to wake up and do whatever I feel like I want to do. I wake up and I'm not asking nobody permission to do anything. I'm not asking nobody for advice on how I should do this or if I should do this, because that taught me that life is short and you literally got to wake up and find something to be happy about. And even if I do feel sick, because a lot of people will see me out and be like, oh, she good. No, I'm going to tell everybody I'm like 65% good. I just make it look good. I still wake up and be in pain. I still wake up and sometimes just can't eat for hours because of it. So, but I've learned to wake up and just thank God that I'm still here. So I literally wake up and just try to find something to be happy about. But it's hard. It's hard being sick and then your child being sick. It
takes a mental toll. I just had some directors for a documentary that features caregivers, parent caregivers, and I also spoke to another mom about this. And it's like, we as caretakers, we're like more susceptible to go through mental health issues because of the weight and the demands. that we have to deal with every day, day in and day out. So I imagine like everything you went through, like that is so
My
hard. And
mental
I give
state,
you your
I'm sorry, I don't mean to
props.
cut you off. My mental state during that time was the scariest I think it ever been. Like,
Mm-hmm.
my mom would come see me and I would literally tell my mom, I'd rather die than live like this.
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to live off a feeding tube? Like, my son pulled my feeding tube out one day.
Oh my God.
Like, he don't know what that is hanging on my nose. He don't, like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, that was literally like the scariest moment in my mental health, because, like, I felt like the only answer was for me not to be here no more. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't take care of him the way I want to. You know, maybe everybody's just better off without me, because now I'm feeling like a burden.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm feeling like everybody has to take care of me and him. I'm making everybody's schedule go left and right. My stepdad moved from Detroit to Cleveland to come live with me, just so my son wouldn't go
Mm-hmm.
into a facility. So it's like I was to the point where it was like, if I leave, everybody will be okay. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
my mental health really didn't start getting bad until the pandemic. And I was at home by myself with my son 24/7. No care, no
Girl,
break, no
speak on
nothing.
it. Speak
When
on it.
I tell
Speak on
you,
it.
I was losing my mind. Like, the schools was like, daycare was like,
Girl,
no.
being a teacher, wait, hold up. Being a teacher, having a special needs kid, having no break at all. I don't even want to talk about it no more because no. It was so much to deal with at that moment. It was too much.
It was a lot. Oh my goodness. I think I called my doctor and I was like, I never saw a therapist before the pandemic. I called my doctor and I literally told her, I need to see a therapist right away. Like, I have to get this out. I have to scream. I have to cry to somebody who is not going to tell me that I'm strong. I was so
Yeah.
tired of people telling me, you got this, you strong, you this, you that. What if I don't want to be strong right now? What if all I want to be is
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable? What if all I want to do is tell you that I can't do it? I want you to accept that. So it was like I
Mm-hmm.
needed to talk to somebody who didn't know nothing about me, didn't understand my
Mm-hmm.
situation, and I found a therapist who didn't know nothing about the special needs community. She didn't know nothing
Mm-hmm.
about how it works and a parent this or nothing. She was not saying she was clueless, but she didn't have no personal what you call it,
Attachment
attachment to
to
it.
that area.
So it was like
Mm-hmm.
it felt good to talk to somebody who wasn't always telling me, you got this, you strong, I know
Mm-hmm.
you, I know how you are. I was tired of being the strong daughter, the strong mother, the strong friend. I was tired of just being strong, period. So yeah, the pandemic tore me up. It tore me up.
Girl. And let me tell you, what's the name of that actress? Molly from Insecure. I forgot. She does stand up, but anyway, she
I think I
said
know what you're
it
talking about.
so well in this HBO special. She said, I am tired of being the strong black woman.
Whew,
I am ready for a soft life. And I felt
tired.
that.
I really
I
feel
felt
like,
that on a level that just like resonated
oh,
in me
did it freeze
because
again?
as black and brown people were socialized to put on this brave face all the time and we're not allowed the space to be vulnerable and to be soft and to ask for help.
We was on the
Girl, the
roll.
devil trying it today. Jesus. All right, I'll say it again. Ready? Okay. So let me just get back into the conversation. What was the last thing you heard?
What did you say? Oh, you was telling me that the Insecure, Molly from Insecure said, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it was so well put by Yvonne Orji, the actress that played Molly in Insecure. She said that she was tired of being the strong black woman, and I felt that. I felt that on the level that I was just like, sis, like, I want to be able to have the space to be a woman, to be vulnerable, to live a soft life. I'm tired of being strong. Yeah. And I know you felt that too, because like, why do we have to be strong?
And I feel like we only
get
that. I feel like black and brown women only get that strong stigma. Mm-hmm. And I get where it came from, but we gotta outgrow that, because that's not doing nothing but burning us out. Mm-hmm. And then I want to make fun of women who are able to take care of their kids or who give up their kids. And it's like we get this stigma of like, we can't cry for help, or we can't need help, or if you do need help, you seen as weak. No, I tell people all the time, I need help.
Let me tell you. Mm-hmm.
I can't do this alone, and I'm not going to try to do this alone at all. I need my mother. I need his other grandma. If it wasn't for those two, I wouldn't be able to be as functioning as I am right now. So I get it. I don't want to be that. They can have
that. Nah, man. Everybody else could do it. Like, I have nothing to prove to nobody. I am letting myself be vulnerable, and I'm giving myself the space to just ask for help and be okay with that and not feel guilty for that. Because that's another thing. You know, we could ask for the help, but then we feel guilty about it because of the way that we've been socialized from like when we're like little girls. You know what I'm saying? So it's not me. I'm
right.
I'm
that's weak. What y'all want to call it. That's what I am. I don't even care.
I'm weak. Help me. So Marlana, this was such a good conversation. I want to end the podcast, and I'm gonna ask you one more question. So, if you could give a piece of advice to a newly single mom who's about to start dating, what would you tell her or them?
That's a really good
for the non-binary folks.
A newly single mom that's dating. That's a hard one. I'm going to say this. What you might want might look different and feel different than what you actually need. If that makes sense. If I said it right. What you think you want in a man.
That makes sense.
God might send you somebody who looks different, makes you feel different, because that's what you need. So that would be my advice. My advice would be literally just make sure that one, you're mentally ready for one, rejection on your part or rejection on their part. Because I tell people all the time, make sure you're in tune with your reality before you expect somebody to be okay with yours. Because if you're not in tune with your own reality, then somebody coming into it might not respect it. If you try to sugarcoat stuff, make stuff look like it is what it's not, then they're going to look at you different. So I say just be open, be transparent about your situation. Don't try to make it seem better than what it is. If you're having a hard time, explain that to that person that you are having a hard time. I don't think it's never too soon to have a conversation about how things are going in
Mhm.
your life. You don't have to give details, but just be open about your emotions. Be open
Mhm.
about what it is that you're going through and have to endure. That's one thing I would say. Don't try to hide. Don't try to hide your situation from that person.
Yeah. And if you feel that there's a person that you have to hide your situation, then that's
Agree.
not the person for you.
Agree.
And that's okay.
Agree.
Right? Thank you so much,
Oh,
Marlena,
don't do
for
this
being
when
on
we
the
about to
show.
end.
Oh my God. Jesus, help us, please. Girl is the devil.
Crazy. They don't want us to have the
Okay.
conversation. Goodness.
All right. So I'm going to end the podcast. I want to thank you so much, Marlena, for being on the show and being so transparent and
Thank
so
you. You're so
vulnerable and so
welcome.
open. I'm going to end it how I always end it, which is follow me at Comadreando Pod and follow Marlena at, can you please drop your handle?
_ Hot Mom Lena with 2 A's.
And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to send me a Comadre-Gram via email at Marcy at comadreandopod.com or slide up into my DMs. Thank you for spending an evening with your comadres. Marlena, you're officially a comadre.
Yay! Thank you for
Congratulations.
having me. This was amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I love it.
I love you too. Okay, and give your baby boy a kiss, and I want to say bye
Bye.
to
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.